Yeah, that's about the extent of my knowledge of pigeons. They're called rats with wings, they poop everywhere, and apparently it's illegal to chase them away in Japan. Weirdly specific fact, I know, don't ask how I know that. But none of that is going to help me write a 10-page paper on pigeons. And if that's the extent of your knowledge on the topic you're supposed to write about, congratulations, we're in the same boat. For now. Because in this video, we're going to cover how you can take almost any topic and, with a little bit of research, develop your own perspective that will make your paper stand out. Okay, so where do we start? If you watched my last video, then you already know the first step is doing a little bit of light research. We have our overarching topic of pigeons, but since I don't know much about them yet, I need to find more information that I can eventually turn into a 10-page paper. But before we get into that, there are 3 important things you should keep in mind. First, keywords are everything, at least when it comes to finding useful information. Here are some examples of phrases I would use to start my search. Just replace blank with your topic. Fun facts about blank. Why is blank important? Negative facts about blank. Positive facts about blank. From there, you might find an article that catches your attention or discover a fun fact that leads you to an entirely different question. I know that sounds simple, but way too many people jump straight into super specific questions before they even understand the basics of their topic. These simple keyword searches help prevent that. They also help you avoid missing information that could end up being really useful later. Secondly, the name of the game is speed. We need to move through this quickly and only get a general overview. Remember, this is a light research. We do not need to know everything yet. So while you're searching, skim. Look for things you find fascinating and ignore the rest for now. You can always go deeper later. But when you're trying to form an opinion on your topic or just gather enough information to create a thesis statement, you only want to focus on what really stands out. And thirdly, don't forget the instructions. When researching your topic, don't accidentally fall down a rabbit hole that has nothing to do with your assignment. For example, since my paper is an argumentative paper about pigeons, all of the information I gather should help me form an opinion that I can actually argue. That opinion should also be at least a little controversial or debatable. With these 3 things in mind, you can begin your search and start building a better understanding of your topic. Now, for my pigeon paper, let's get started with interesting facts about pigeons. And Google doing its Google thing already has a bunch of interesting facts for me to explore. Pigeons are incredible navigators, speedy flyers, superior vision is pretty cool. They seem to be pretty intelligent from just this basic search. And wait, pigeons have milk? Okay, weird. I'll keep that in mind and let's move on. What about positive facts about pigeons? Alright, here's an interesting looking article. Let's see what it has to say on pigeons. Why you should appreciate pigeons. Yes, pigeons. I'd say we're on the right track. This is a pretty recent article, but it sounds interesting and it looks professional. That's something we also need to keep an eye out for. If the article doesn't look professional or reliable, don't use it. Only use sources you feel comfortable with. As a general rule, if you don't think your teacher will look at that article and say to his or herself, that looks like a reliable source, then don't use it. Doing a quick skim of this article shows me that it actually has a lot of information that I might use for my own paper. And oh, this looks interesting. What's the difference between a pigeon and a dove? Wait, what? There isn't a difference? Let me check that. Are you serious? This can't be real. I mean, pigeons are they're pigeons. And doves are, okay, that's crazy. They're both members of the Columbidae family. How did I not know this before? So from what I understand in this Google search, if a pigeon is chubby and ugly, it's called a pigeon. And if it's pretty and skinny, it's called a dove? That sounds so discriminatory to me. I mean, what if the pigeon just didn't take a bath for a few days and got mud splashed on it or something? Then people will call it a pigeon? But if that same pigeon goes on a diet and often visits a bird bath, someone can legally call it a dove? Okay, maybe not that extreme, but still, my mind is blown. After creating this video, I did a little bit more research and found that while pigeons and doves are from the same family, they are not from the same species. There are over 300 types of pigeons and doves. I'll look into this more in my deep dive research video, but I thought I'd go ahead and mention this just so you guys don't come after me. Definitely needs more research, because I mean, did you know that pigeons and doves are the same? Or Google, are you lying to me? Okay, we can't spend too much time on this. As I said, light research. So let's look up what are some negative facts about pigeons. Pigeons are considered urban pests because they carry diseases, damage buildings with highly acidic droppings, and cause structural issues like blocked drains. Okay, yeah. So I'm not really seeing anything there that's new or that's different from most other birds. Most birds carry parasites. I already knew pigeons are pests and poop a lot. Honestly, I'm thinking a 10-page paper on how awesome pigeons are is going to be a stronger argument than how awful they are. Keeping that in mind, I had to look up what are some negative facts about doves. Poor survival skills. Okay, that makes sense. As I'm looking at these negative facts about doves, it actually makes me feel sad rather than upset at doves. I mean, these dove releases sound horrible and inhumane, and it's rather pitiful they can't build nests right. If we go back to the open tab on if pigeons and doves are the same or not, I wonder if we can find an article confirming how true this is or not. Okay, so remember when I mentioned before about the reliability of articles? Anyone can create a website and post an article on it, and this is what I mean. Now, this article might have some interesting and true information, but look at that font. It's crying out to me that this might not be so reliable. And those weird ads to the side? Okay, this looks like an article on a website that's dedicated to pigeons. It's so biased already, and while I want an article talking about them, I don't think this will fit per se in my paper. So out we go. So curiosity has gripped me, and now I must know, what is a baby pigeon called? A baby pigeon is called a squab. Aw, okay, that's adorable. Kinda. I mean, they're referred to as squeakers. Alright, this is enough information for me to confirm that my paper is going to be positive about pigeons. They're practically the same as doves. Their babies are called squabs. Have I misjudged pigeons this entire time? All this time, I've thought of them as merely pests and some of the most annoying birds along with seagulls. But here they are, and my heart, I think it might be opening up to them some. But this isn't enough information to fully form a 10-page paper or even to write a convincing thesis. So let's look up how have pigeons been influential in history. And we've got some fascinating information. And an article from a .gov site. The government has an article on pigeons. So this is an article from the USDA National Agricultural Library. Let's see what they have to say about pigeons. The human relationship with pigeons, forgotten war heroes. I am intrigued. These particular war heroes were of the feathered variety and had no ability to understand their own sacrifices. Messenger pigeons, Columba livia domestica, who risked and often lost life and limb carrying messages through the front. Okay, my friends, I think I've just found an article that will 100% be included in my paper. This is not only a trustworthy source, as trustworthy as the government can be, and this shows pigeons as war heroes. I mean, I think everyone has heard of pigeons being used to send messages, but I have this feeling that this article will shine a light on the importance of pigeons in society. So I'm going to stop here and open a Word doc, and I'm going to take the URL of this article and the article on why you should appreciate pigeons and put them in this document. This way, when I'm doing my deep dive research, I'll be able to pull these articles up quickly. Also notice that even though this is a pretty light research, I've already found 2 of the 4 articles I need. I also think I already have enough to form a basic thesis statement. I know that pigeons are incredible navigators, are much smarter than we think they are known as doves, maybe war heroes, and their babies are known as squalls. Negatively, I know that they are considered pests by most, their poop is toxic, they have a hard time making nests, and are treated poorly by a lot of people. With this information, I'm going to create a pseudo-thesis statement. This is not my actual thesis statement, and it probably is not what my final thesis statement will look like either. Instead, this is just meant to help me figure out the main sentiment of what I'm trying to argue. And don't overthink this part. You really don't need to spend a ton of time on it. It can be something simple as pigeons are war heroes that deserve our respect, and while many people make fun of and hate pigeons, this is mainly due to ignorant prejudice than solid fact. Now, this isn't terrible, but in my opinion, it still isn't strong enough for a full 10-page paper. What it does do, though, is give me a clear direction. This is the core sentiment that my final thesis statement will probably express, and I'll likely reuse parts of this later in my intro paragraph. But that's for another video. Now, before I end this video, I want to address a couple of concerns some people might have. Starting with, how is this enough information to form an opinion that your entire paper is going to be based on? But here's the truth. It doesn't take much to form an opinion. Most people form opinions pretty quickly, even you. Chances are you decide whether this video is worth watching within the first minute. Now, it might seem backward to form an opinion before doing a deep dive into your topic, but think about it. How are you supposed to know what to look for if you don't already have a general direction? There are countless different avenues you can explore within a single topic, and narrowing your focus early helps you research faster and write your paper more efficiently. Now, this doesn't mean we're going to ignore opposing viewpoints. Actually, the exact opposite. Throughout this process, we're going to challenge our argument over and over again. We're going to explore opposing opinions, test our assumptions, and see if our argument actually holds up under deeper research. In fact, before we even write our real thesis statement, we're going to pressure test this opinion through our main research. We'll see whether this argument survives the deep dive. Another concern you might have is that I only used articles and Google searches to get started. And that's because this is still light research. Right now, source accuracy absolutely matters. But at this stage, it's even more important to establish a direction. Because if you have no direction, how are you supposed to know where to look for a better topic-centered resource? In the next video, we'll go over how to do a deep dive on your topic, including how to find book resources. I know, finding a book resource can be challenging, but I'm going to show you a way to find useful sources without dragging yourself out of bed and spending all day wandering through random library shelves, even though that can still be worth doing sometimes. So if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.